Good morning, everyone. I'm about to review the classwork for Algebra 1 for March 17th. Again, this was assigned page 281 and 282 in your workbook. So you're given two tables, and you have two people, Dan and Kim's Plumbing. And so we want to compare the cost for the two companies, and then we're going to make some comparisons later on. Again, we're on page 281 in your workbook. I also have the Spanish translation uploaded onto our Google Classroom, and Español es in Google Classroom. So please, whichever one works for you. So here we go. They give us a table, and they say, what will be the cost after 0 hours utilizing Dan's Plumbing? Well, they give us the function as $35 per hour times T number of hours. So 35 times 0 is 0. So for 0 hours of work, you will be charged $0. When you have 1 hour, 35 times 1 is $35. Por una hora, $35. So for 1 hour is $35. 2 hours, you multiply 35 times 2, which equals $70. 2 hours of plumbing service will cost you $80. Then we go to 3 hours. 35 multiplicación 3 son 105, which means that you get a $105 charge for 3 hours of labor. Let's take a look at Kim's. For 0 hours, now this function is a little bit different, and they give us the verbal description in the book. And it says, Kim's Plumbing charges $35 per hour plus a $40 flat rate fee. So again, this $40 es solamente un tiempo. It's a service charge. Only once. See? Okay, we're just going to carry that along the whole time. So for 0 hours of work, you get 35 times 0 plus 40. So 35 times 0 is 0 plus 40 is 40. For 1 hour of labor, utilizing Kim's company, 35 multiplicación 1 y 40 son 75. So 35 times 1 plus 40 gives me a cost of $75. And for 2 hours, I have 35 multiplicación 2 es $70 y 40 son 110. So what that means is 35 times 2 is $70 plus 40 gives me $110 for 2 hours of labor. Lastly, for 3 hours, 35 times 3 is $105 plus 40 gives me a total of $145. So how do we represent that mathematically? As a coordinate pair, 3 hours will cost $145. And again, each one of these is written as a coordinate pair. The x coordinate is representing our independent variable, and it's telling us how many hours of work, and the y coordinate is telling us the cost for those hours. Now, at the bottom of this page, there's a question on domain and range. Domain, recall, are all our x values that are allowable for this particular function. So the domain is the same for both Dan and Kim. They have listed in our chart from 0, 1, 2, and 3. If we continue past 3 hours, it would be all whole numbers. You cannot use fractions, and you cannot use negative numbers. The range for Dan would be y equals 0, 35, 70, 105. It's going to be all multiples of $35. Kim's range is a little bit different because of that $40 fixed rate one-time fee. Even if you don't use any hours, he's going to charge you a $40 fee just to come out to your house. That is a fixed fee. $75, $110, and $145. And again, you could continue on by adding 35 each time. But that's what they want for the domain and range for both of those. When you turn to page 282, they're going to ask you to fill in the graphs. So here we go. I've done that for you. So if you take the data that is in the chart and you transfer it into our graph, and again, one more time, where did I get these points from? For Dan's, 0 goes to 0, 1 goes to 35, 2 goes to 70, and 3 goes to 105. So if you look here, 0 goes to 0, 1. Now the interval is every 20. 20, 40, 60, 80. My interval is every 20. So where would I locate 35? Well, between 0 and 40 is 20. En la media, 20 y 40. In the middle of 20 and 40 would be 30, 30. And then 35 would be un poquito up from that. 35, a little bit higher. Going to 2, how do I graph that? 2 goes to 70. So there's my second hour at Dan's. 20, 40, 60, 80. So this is 60, 80. 70 would be smack in la media. All right, so 2 goes to 70. Use reference lines. You can draw reference lines right in your workbook. 3 is going to go to 105. 3 goes to 105. So again, here's 80. There's 100, un poquito higher than 100, little tiny bit higher. And then put our dot. Now let's do the same thing for Kim. Kim's coordinates are a little bit different. 0 goes to 40. So with no time, I have to pay that $40 service fee. For 1 hour, I want 75, 20, 40, 60, 80. 70 es en la media, so 75, 75 is just a little bit below 80. Little tiny bit, un poquito. All right, then we go to number 2. 2 goes to 110. Again, here's 80, 100, 100. And this is 120. So 110 is en la media of these two. And that's where we have 2 hours. 3 hours goes to 145. Where would I find that? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. Okay, is here. So a little tiny bit above the 140. Again, can we see that? Little tiny bit above. All right. Hopefully that's helped you. There is a question, which is a quiz, which appears right in the workbook itself. And so I'm going to show you that. Right here is the quiz for today. And it says, compare the graphs. How are they the same and how are they different? So what you want to do is look at the graphs. And you might want to say something about the y-intercept. Because Dan's y-intercept is 0 and Kim's is 40. Okay, do you see how the y-intercept changes? What do we notice about the slope? Okay, what is the rate of change? Is it the same? Is it different? Okay, so look for some differences and some similarities in the graph. Give me 2 things that are exactly the same and 2 things that are different between the 2 graphs. And that will count as our quiz for today. Thanks for logging in. I'm also going to do the do now from 317 that I need to re-record for you. Have a good day. Keep working, guys.